computer. So good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My name is John Dwyer. I'm the founder of Omni Local Business Networking, and this is a brilliant session for you guys, and as part of our collection of tips and tricks that you can gain for your business on our YouTube channel. And so I just want to say how excited I am today. Today, my guest is renowned digital marketing specialist John Dwyer, who the guy, believe it or not, has Jerry Seinfeld's trusted confidence with his latest campaign. So John is the owner of the Institute of Wow. I'll be asking him to showcase his direct response customer attraction formula. It's a proven system that you can implement into your business instantly and get sales and inquiries coming in hand over fist. John's clients include the people like Rupert, Murdoch's News Limited, 7-Eleven, KFC, McDonald's, Warner Bros. These are just to name a few. Trust me, the list of business who's who goes on and on. So today you're going to be exposed to some marketing gold, practical ideas that you can exploit straight away to increase your sales. You're going to learn specifically the secrets of incentive-based marketing and how this can attract more customers, and this tactic will help you avoid having to price discount forever. If Jerry Seinfeld can trust him with his brand, then I'm sure you can see the value in this session and of his sales building tips. So welcome, John. Thank you very much for coming along this morning. I know it's something like 7 o'clock in Australia, your end.
Yes, it's close to beer. It's closer to beer o'clock than it is for you.
Trust me, you don't know how true that might be. Right. I have had some questions put together here, and we've really only just met and formed a relationship in the last, I suppose, 4 weeks or so, and I am so excited about what we're going to be doing together in the future. So I have prepared a list of questions, so if it feels like I'm, reading from a script or whatever, please forgive me. But I want to make sure that we get this message and this to point. Okay, so John,
it feels like John, I'm on a David Frost interview.
Don't worry, I'm not as straight-laced as he would be, but there we go. So what is direct response marketing, and what is it compared to marketing versus traditional marketing? How is that working out?
Yeah, John, look, for anyone who's watching this in a small business, I'm sure that they are used to traditional marketing, where an advertising agency will tell you you've got to build your brand over a year or 2 or 5 or 10, and then eventually people will come. It's like build a church and they will come. And that's fine if you're a big business. That's fine if you've got really deep pockets. But for most of us, modest sized businesses, we've got to put food on the table tomorrow night. And so therefore, our mantra is direct response marketing, which means that you advertise on Facebook today, or the radio, or the newspaper, or Instagram, whatever it might be, and you've got a result tomorrow. So as the name infers, direct response marketing is all about direct response. It's not about sponsoring the Manchester City soccer team. It's not about putting a brand out on the side of buses or the backs of taxis. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just that you have to have deep pockets to continue doing that. What we provide to businesses, particularly smaller businesses, is a way to cut through and get direct response from advertising, rather than building a brand over 5 years and hoping someone eventually will recognize that brand.
Yeah, fantastic. And so specifically, where does incentive-based marketing come into play? Where does it fit?
Yeah, well, John, as you know, you and I have teamed up to put together some webinars coming up in the future, and those webinars will be concentrating on what we call incentive-based marketing. And the quickest way to explain what that's all about is just to say Happy Meal Toy, McDonald's Happy Meal Toy. That's an incentive that gets a lot of parents and grandparents to buy the Happy Meal when they really didn't want to. And it's got nothing at all to do with the hamburger or the fries, because the kids normally don't eat that, or they throw them out. It's got everything to do with the free toy inside the Happy Meal. And that's really what incentive-based marketing is all about. Kellogg's have been doing it for about the same time that McDonald's have been doing it, with the free toy in the bottom of the cornflakes pack. Prime, you'd be familiar with Amazon. They've got a Prime membership club, and that's an incentive. If you actually join that club, then you get free shipping and fast shipping. You get free movies and free music and all sorts of things. And really, the local coffee shop down the road, John, has got incentive-based marketing. And that's when you go to the coffee shop, and every time you get a coffee, they will stamp your little loyalty card. And when you've bought 9 coffees, they'll give you the 10th coffee for free. That's what is incentive-based marketing. And the reason it's something that I preach is because if you do it, not you, John, but you as a business owner who is watching this, if they do it, guess what? They are one of only 3 or 4% of businesses worldwide that do it, because 97% of businesses have never offered an incentive. They just keep on price discounting, which of course is not really good for your brand.
No, and if you've got a good quality product, why should you? You know, you undervalue the thing. And you just talking about McDonald's and things just brings back my memory of when we were Kinder Eggs. You're quite right. The chocolate isn't to my preference, but inside was the toy, and then you'd spend ages building it. Or inside your Kellogg's cornflakes, you'd get a little toy, and every time we'd open up the box, it was a race to who could get the toy first. Then we'd have Sugar Puffs instead of Kellogg's. So
no, you did right. And John, the funny part about it is that for me, it's been around forever, and McDonald's and Kellogg's have proven that. But it's just amazing. 97% of all businesses have never, ever given away an incentive. And I'm talking about things like movie passes or even a dining voucher. They haven't ever gone down that path because it's just been too easy to drop their price. And there's nothing wrong with price discounting, 2 or 3 times a year when you want to clear the warehouse and bring some more cash in, or you just want cash. There's nothing wrong with having a discount sale. I'm just saying, don't make that the first port of call every single week of the year, because the big Walmarts of this world, I know you're in the UK, but I mean, everyone would be familiar with the big Walmart chain in America. They're built for price discounting, okay? And a lot of the supermarkets, even Tesco, is built for price discounting, but most of us aren't. So we can't have a 50% sale every week. That's just impossible. We wouldn't put food on the table. We'd go broke. And my view is that instead of going down the path of price discounting to produce cash, go down the path of offering someone an incentive, because the whole idea of the incentive is to take your eyes off the price. If I asked you, John, what the price of a Happy Meal a Happy Meal was, I bet you couldn't tell me, because McDonald's have been clever enough to take our eyes off the price onto the toy.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So it seems bonkers that this is a big trick missed by many people. Why do you think like 97% of businesses don't do this?
I think, John, probably because it's too easy to price discount. I think most businesses, if they're sitting around the dinner table, let's say tonight, and the husband and wife who run the business, whether it's a retail business or it might be a painting business or pool cleaning business or whatever it might be, they say to themselves, listen, we've got to bring some cash in because we've got some bills that we've just, arrived on the desk. What are we going to do? And the easiest thing to do to bring cash in is to drop your price. And of course, if you do that, then you do take your brand from the penthouse to the basement without taking the elevator. And it's something that's not sustainable. Why would you want to create a marketing plan for your business that is not sustainable? In other words, you can't do it every single week. Whereas if you come up with an incentive, like a sexy Happy Meal toy, let's call it, and you offer that when somebody purchases your pool cleaning services, or they buy your refrigerator, or they buy your accountancy services, whatever it might be, and you give them something, let's just say for argument's sake, it was a dining voucher, then you can keep on doing that every single day of the year, and it's not going to affect your margin. Whereas if you actually drop 40% or 50% on one occasion, you try doing that for 52 weeks of the year and see if there's any food on the table.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I say, dropping pricing and all of that, special deals is okay when you're low on cash flow, but if you're going to build a marketing plan, you need something that you can build on. So, and it's amazing that only 3% of people do this. So can you give us a couple of examples of incentive-based marketing and the concepts that have proven all of this?
No, I don't want to give you any. I've always wanted to do that, where there's the big build-up that this guy at the other end of the line is some Aussie genius, and then all of a sudden, can you give me some samples? Oh, no, I don't have any. I'm sorry. John, we've got there's scores and scores and scores of these, but probably a couple that might be of interest because they do jump out. There was a turf farm here in Australia who was a client of mine. Turf as in grass, okay, for your front yard and your backyard. And I visited his turf farm because he joined my private consulting business about 3 or 4 years ago. Lovely guy, John, his name was. And I just said to him, look, can you tell me who your target audience is? And he said, well, look, landscapers. He said, because mum and dads, if they buy a front yard worth of grass or backyard's worth of grass, he said, we're not going to get rich out of that. But landscapers who are doing who are doing 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 homes at the one time, if they buy the front yard and backyard's worth of grass off me, then I make good money. I said, okay, well, landscapers, 99.9% of them are men. I said, what sort of incentive do you think that, oh, by the way, he said, look, if I charge $6.50 a square metre or square yard, he said the guy down the road who offers the same grass, because let's face it, grass is grass. Okay, it's not like Cadbury chocolate versus another chocolate. There's no difference between one person's grass and the next. So he said, if I charge $6.50, per square metre, and the guy down the road would just drop it to $6, I've got to go to $5.50. Then he's going to go to $5. It's a race to the bottom. I said, well, you want to get out of that game. That's the mugs. And he said, well, what do you suggest? I said, incentive-based marketing. And he said, well, what sort of incentive? I said, well, given your audience are 99.9% male, do you think they might like beer? And he said, yes, I know they would like beer. Okay, so therefore they normally drink the working man's beer. Why don't we go to a prestige beer brand? Now in Australia, the prestige beer, one of them is called Crown Lager. It's the toffee beer that people with a coat and a suit on would probably drink rather than a tradie. So we said to the tradies via an email campaign and a brochure campaign, because a lot of them, of course, are not tech savvy. So we sent out a mailer and we hired a list of all of the landscapers in the area. And we sent about 250 of the 500 we sent out. And it just said, listen, if you buy a front yard and a backyard's worth of grass from us, we'll give you a carton of Crown Lager beer, which is 24 bottles of beer, right, of this prestigious beer. He rings me up 6 days into the campaign and said to me, John, got a problem. By the way, when I visited him, I asked him, how much grass did he have? He said, can you see the mountain range as far as your eye can see there and as far as your eye can see there? I said, yeah. He said, that's 6 miles of grass. He said, I've got to get rid of it so I can replant for the next season. I went, okay, just my luck. I go and pick a client like this that's got a massive challenge, like I thought it was a no-win. Anyway, so he rings me 6 days into the campaign and said to me, we've got a problem. I said, what's that? He said, we don't have any more grass. I said to him, you had 6 miles worth of grass. He said, it's all gone. He said, I've got landscapers ringing me, buying 18 homes worth of grass, saying to me they don't care when the grass gets here. They've got a party on Friday. They need the 18 cartons of beer. And he said, I'm actually buying grass from other turf farms, competitors, to keep up with the demand for the beer. So that's when the Happy Meal toy overtakes the product. I mean, it's a lovely problem to have, by the way. And that was a few years ago. Now, guess what he does every year at the same time when he wants to move the entire 6 miles worth of grass so he can replant for the new season? He just runs the same incentive program. So it's as simple as that. Once you prove that it works, just keep doing it.
Yeah, well, that's great. Now I know that we've got holidays and they're an amazing customer draw card and things like that. And I believe that having created a holiday incentive promotional package can suit just about any business. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, no, you're spot on, John. And look at how it came about. We've got this, I guess, a promotional package these days that my company provides, and it's in the UK, and it's basically called Fun Escapes. And essentially what we do is that we provide businesses with holidays that are valued up to £500 for £49. Now, these are 4-day, 3-night holidays throughout UK and all throughout Europe. So you're talking, France, and you're talking Italy, you're talking Amsterdam, you're talking Portugal, Spain, all of those wonderful places that you guys duck across and go to. And those 3-night and 4-day holidays are valued up to £500, but businesses buy them off us for £49. It's pretty crazy. And what happens is that they give that Happy Meal toy, let's call it a Happy Meal toy, an adult Happy Meal toy, to customers when they buy their product or service. So, for example, if you're selling a refrigerator, you say, look, buy the refrigerator this week. And instead of going down that nasty discount path, you say, look, I will give you a free European or UK holiday for 3 nights and 4 days. Let's just put it this way, John. If you had a £500, I don't know, let's say refrigerator, and you gave up 10%, that would cost you £50. But can you imagine if you said, buy my refrigerator, which is £500, and I'm going to give you a holiday worth £500, but it's only costing you $49. Can you imagine the impact of that Happy Meal toy? And how it came about was that an American travel company has got access to unsold hotel rooms right throughout the UK and Europe. And these hotels are all 4-star TripAdvisor. There are no timeshare presentations or any of that rubbish attached to it. And basically these hotels have said, look, outside of school vacations, which is Christmas and Easter and school holidays, we've got about 30% of our rooms unsold every night. So we may as well give them away for no tariff in the hope that whoever stays there will spend money on food and beverage and room service and massages and cocktails by the pool and all of that. So that's how it's come about. We just get access to unsold hotel rooms. And I've run some campaigns over the years for all sorts of incentives. And I'm telling you at the moment, coming off the back end of the pandemic, if I asked you, John, what does everyone want? What would be the hottest Happy Meal toy in town? What would you say?
It's got to be holidays now. Everyone's been locked up for 2 years. So, yeah, everyone wants to get away.
You got it. Don't give me a microwave oven. Don't give me a skateboard. Don't give me a bicycle. I want a holiday.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to try and trip you up here, John, without warning. It sounds all too good to be true. Mm-hmm. How would you, avoid that being part of the thinking process?
No, very fair question. And of course, when the company, what happened, John, is that I ran this promotion, get a home loan, get a free holiday for a bank here in Australia some 10 years ago. And as it turned out, it went nuts. Instead of price discounting and, matching all the other banks by saying, look, get a home loan from us and we're only 3.5% instead of the guy across the road who might be 3.8%, and then continually having to chase your tail because the bank across the road will drop their interest rates, I convinced this particular bank, which was called the Greater, to actually stop price discounting, or what we call interest rate discounting, and devote that discount to giving people a free holiday. Now, this was about 10 years ago. It went nuts. We're talking billions, not millions, but billions of dollars worth of holidays were given out. And about 5 years into a 10-year campaign, I got Jerry Seinfeld to do their advertising. So that's why you showed off on my behalf at the beginning, saying that I worked with Seinfeld. And of course, I've milked the daylights out of that.
You would do. Yeah.
My mates say to me, when are you going to give up that whole Seinfeld thing? I said, never. But of course, if anyone was lucky enough, as I was, to work with Seinfeld for 3 years, of course you would milk it. And he was a delight to work for. So what would happen is that Jerry came on TV down under and on Facebook and so forth, and basically said, if you swap your home loan to this particular bank, you'll get a free holiday. And what happened, this American travel company saw that campaign, and they contacted me a couple of years ago and said, listen, we've seen what you did with that bank and what you did with Seinfeld. We're a travel company. Why don't we join forces and you show us how to package this up for businesses to give it away as a Happy Meal toy? They didn't use Happy Meal toy, but you know what I mean. Yeah. And so that's what we've done. We ran it in Australia for the past couple of years. It went nuts, even throughout COVID. It went nuts. And now, of course, the last few months since COVID is on the back foot. We are busier than ever. They're the biggest months we've ever had. And we've launched it in the UK. And when you say, look, it's too good to be true, I will understand that, because I said the same thing to the travel company when they presented it to me. And they said, well, you can think what you like, but the fact of the matter is that most 4-star hotels, these are 4-star TripAdvisor hotels, by the way, most of them outside of school holidays are running at 30% vacancy. So that means 3 out of every 10 rooms that they have, and they could have 100, 200, 300 rooms in the resort, they're empty. And they've still got to pay air conditioning. They've still got to pay all the overheads of keeping the place open, but they've got 30% of their rooms vacant. They may as well give up those rooms for free under the radar. In other words, the public don't see it, but businesses are giving these things away as a Happy Meal toy, and fill those rooms, and then know that people who are staying there are likely, they're not guaranteed, but they're likely to spend money on cafes and restaurants and room service and cocktails by the pool. So that's really, I know it sounds too good to be true, but it is. We've been running it now for 2.5 years. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't true.
Yeah, well, I've got a voucher from you, which you've kindly sent over to me, and I'm looking at a decent hotel in Edinburgh, so with a pool and all of that for 3 nights, just to hook up with the guys over there. So brilliant.
No, John, I've told them not to let you in. They only want desirable people, so therefore you won't be allowed in.
I'll exclude it. You probably put the name on the door, not this one.
And hang on, you tell me, what was the soccer team you broke for?
West Ham is my team, yeah.
Yeah, no, there's no West Ham people allowed.
No West Ham fans allowed, eh? Okay. Okay, look, a little bit about you, John. All of this is fantastic information, and we will be having a webinar on this. The date and the time of the next webinar will be in the comment box there. And I'll also be running some bits and bobs on Facebook and LinkedIn and whatnot. So for more information, check out the video, check out the comments in below. But just finally, before I close, John, have you got a copy of your book to hand?
I do indeed. Let me have a look at it here. It is, this is like one of those morning TV show interviews, isn't it, where I'm flogging a movie? Yeah.
If you've given up your time to help us, mate, I want to be able to promote you. Is this available on Amazon?
It's funny, when I'm doing any of these interviews, and I'm pretty sarcastic. So if I see some of these interviews on morning TV, I go, oh, look, stop it, just stop it. And here I am doing one. Let me show this to the camera. Right? Yeah, look, all jokes aside, John, when you are doing seminars, as I've been doing now for the past 10 years, I came from the corporate world. So therefore, before the last 10 years, I was, providing marketing advice to the fast food chains like your McDonald's and KFC, and your retailers like 7-Eleven, and yes, Rupert Murdoch's News Limited papers. We used to do all the big scratch bingo games for Rupert Murdoch's papers, and you guys will be very, very familiar with scratch bingos out of your newspapers. So therefore, I came from the corporate world, and into the last 10 years, I just said to my wife, look, IP, the intellectual property that we have for direct response marketing, why don't we provide it to smaller businesses? Because we felt that, well, I felt at least there was a lot more money to be made out of that instead of just having half a dozen of the big clients, And as it's turned out, as a result of, swapping to the smaller business side, you have to do a lot of seminars and webinars. So that's why you can see I can talk underwater, because you're used to doing all of this, right? And I found that when you got into the seminar game, guess what? You had to write a book. You had to write a book. And I remember saying to the people who were managing me at the time, I said, oh, that sounds like that's hard work. Well, guess what? There was a guy last week. This book is called The Avalanche Leads Formula. So it's all about how to get a bucket load of leads very quickly. And it does cover the incentive-based marketing stuff. And I'm going to give this to you, lots of them to you, so you can give them away to people. But there was a guy, John, last month, and I was doing a webinar, and my name is John Dwyer, but I get JD. He said, JD, I've got to tell you, chapter 4 in that book, he said, it's changed my business. I went, oh, okay, well, that's great. And he said, no, I've got to thank you very much. It's been a big change in my business. When I got off the call, I said to my wife, I better read chapter 4. I can't remember. I can't remember what the hell was that. Well, that night, John, I'm in bed reading this book. And because I don't think I've ever read it. I actually wrote it and had the Filipino people put it together, and then I had a proofreader put it all together. But I don't know that I've read it myself. I think it's pretty good, by the way. So I'm reading the book in bed that night, and Gail, my wife, said to me, "What are you doing?" I said, "It's chapter 4. It's life-changing."
Well, thank you very much for that and the generosity. If you could just hold the book up again, if you don't mind.
Yep, okay, it's called
the Avalanche of Leads Formula. You can actually see that you've been doing this for years, because that's a before and an after photograph, isn't it?
Exactly. This has taken a lot of photoshopping to get rid of the wrinkles. But by the way, of course, I show off on the back cover, John. I'll show you the back cover. I do show off on the back cover because
Seinfeld thing again. Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, listen, thank you very much for giving up your time, especially in the evening over there. I'm going to be looking forward to working with you a lot more in the future. Guys, anybody that's a member of Omni, you'll be seeing more of John as well. So thank you very much for giving up your time. And guys, read the content below, click on the links. There's booking forms for the next webinar. It will be online because obviously John's in Australia, but it's well worth an investment of your time. If it changes just 5% of your business, that has 156% of increase of profit and revenue and everything else. So well worth looking at. Thanks very much, John. Catch up with you soon. Thanks.
And John, just before we do go, all jokes aside, this is about you are putting a link underneath this to provide a copy of this book for anyone. So the electronic copy, of course. So therefore, if they just click the link that you're providing them underneath this, then they will get a copy of this book completely free of charge.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, John. I really appreciate that. So something else. Right. Thanks, John. Really appreciate your time. I'll catch up with you soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.
My pleasure.